Hi friends, hope you all are having an awesome day today. One of the biggest things that I wanted to see from the last Nintendo Direct wasn't Zelda, but it was actually Metroid. I wanted to see Metroid Prime HD or maybe Metroid Prime Trilogy coming onto the Nintendo Switch so I could play this in its HD glory. Unfortunately, that is not the case, and I went to go look at my Nintendo GameCube and see what options were available to go ahead and play this on modern televisions. There are a lot of hurdles that come with playing old consoles on modern televisions. Mainly, the biggest thing was converting your analog signal into a digital signal, and there are so many options that are online, and there are so many different ways of upscaling an image that it just kind of blew my mind. So I want to go ahead and talk about all the different options that are available and kind of my own thoughts and my experience on all of that stuff. Before we get into everything, I wanted to say thank you. This channel hit 100 subscribers way faster than I thought it would. So thank you for the subscriptions, and like the video because likes are free after all. So let's get into the content. So first and foremost, before we talk about the different types of upscalers that are out there, we have to talk about what upscaling is. A lot of people, they understand upscaling in the form of DLSS. And yes, that is one way of doing that, but there are also other forms of doing upscaling. If you're a content creator or you work in Photoshop or anything like that, you might be familiar with some of this terminology, but pretty much you have bilinear, you have bicubic, and then you have nearest neighbor. And when it comes to playing old pixel style games, you want to go ahead and go with nearest neighbor because it just allows for a much clearer, crisper image. Now that doesn't work for everything. For example, you could go ahead and get more jagged edges and you're gonna get more aliasing when it comes to 3D images overall. But when you're playing 2D games, it looks absolutely amazing. And this is exactly what you want to see at the end of the day. The reason why these cheaper manufacturers and cheaper upscalers go with the bicubic and the bilinear upscaling methods is because they are trying to appeal towards the mass audience. So you have people that have VHS tapes that want to plug in a VCR and re-watch some of their old videos on a modern television. Well, that bicubic and bilinear upscaling method, it's actually meant for our skin or having film, not necessarily video games. Video games, you want to have that crisp edge, so to speak. And anti-aliasing comes into effect when you have DLSS and things like that, but that's a different conversation entirely. When you're playing old SNES or NES or even Sega Genesis games, that you want to have as crisp as possible and have those pixels as sharp as possible. So having something that has a nearest neighbor upscaling algorithm is just better overall. I bought the cheap thing and I was disappointed. I saw that that didn't actually allow me to play these games the way that I wanted to. The image was blurry and things just didn't really look the way that I thought that they had looked in my childhood. So I knew that there was a better way to get a better image. So I did some research and I found Retrotink and their lineup of products that are available towards the masses. I found the Retrotink 2X for relatively inexpensive. I think it was 80 bucks at the time. As of right now, it is being scalped like crazy. So I would kind of be hesitant unless they announce that there's going to be more that's made in the future. But I fell in love with the product and I knew that this was something special that would allow me to relive my old memories, my old childhood memories in gaming on modern televisions with as little lag as possible. Shortly after buying the Retrotink 2X Mini, Mike from Retrotink announced that the Retrotink 5X was coming out and the pre-orders were opened. Well, I didn't get the first wave or whatever of the shipments that came out, but shortly after I saw reviews, I knew that I wanted to go ahead and buy this in order to experience this in as good of a resolution as possible. Now, this thing can go all the way up to 1440p, and there's very, very little latency when it comes to playing this on modern televisions. The cool thing about the Retrotink 5X is that it can take virtually any sort of analog input that you have at your disposal. So any sort of console that you have, you can hook it up without any issues. There is no sort of modding or anything like that. It's plug and play no matter what console. And this is one of the things that I really like about this, is that if I want to go ahead and play Super NES, I can. If I want to play my PlayStation 2, I can, and I don't have to worry about modding anything or getting specific adapters for each and every single console. Not only that, but you can put an array of inputs into the Retrotink 5X. For example, you can use component cables, you can use S-video or composite cables. Now, composite cables, for those of you that do not know, that's the yellow, red, and white cables that come with all consoles straight out of the box. The S-video cables, that is an upgrade that allows for a much sharper image, but if you want the best of the best from that era, you want to go with component cables. Thankfully, Retrobit came out with the Retro Prisms component cables for the Nintendo GameCube, specifically the D0L001 model, so I was able to use that to get the best image quality possible and play that on my LG G1 downstairs. Now, I haven't been able to test any third-party Nintendo GameCube controllers. I know that wireless is kind of like a big thing, especially in today's day and age. So having retrofitted controllers from third-party manufacturers that have that compatibility and provide that is nice. Fortunately, I was able to get the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate GameCube controller when that originally released for the Nintendo Switch, and it was retrofitted, and I can use that with my Nintendo GameCube today. I mean, the controller is honestly one of the best things that Nintendo has done. I mean, you can't beat it. The A button is perfectly placed, the analog stick is perfect, the D-pad is perfect, and the springiness of the shoulder buttons is just absolutely perfect. Overall, though, combining all of those components allows me to play these games on modern televisions. The beauty of the versatility of the Retrotink 5X doesn't mean that you have to play specifically with the Nintendo GameCube. It's just what I use as of right now to play the Nintendo GameCube. Technically, you could purchase that and use that for literally anything that is out there. It's just overall my personal experience. So guys, let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you're into retro gaming at all, and I will see you on the next one. Till next time, guys. Peace.